Yeah, what's happening, guys? Here at the Golden State Tattoo Expo in Pasadena, California. Blessed and honored to have all these badasses up here, up on the stage with me. Starting over here with Nathan. Tell us who you are and what's your Instagram.
Nathan Evans from Ohio. It's Nathan Evans 32.
Your turn, Franco.
Franco_Vescovi. Yeah, come check me out.
Come check me out. Mr. Devries.
Mike Devries. Tattoo at MD Tattoo Studio.
Stefano.
And my name is Stefano Alcantara, and at Stefano Alcantara. Stefano Alcantara, if you want to say it in English.
Hey, do you like Stefano or Stefano?
I'm Stefano.
I say Stefano, and I correct people all the time. They're like, no, Stefano. I'm like, no, it's Stefano.
Stefano is the, my family is Italian, so it's Stefano. Stefano is the American way. So it's not actually have an accent on the E, but doesn't exist in the keyboard in English. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, here we are again in Golden State. This is one of the biggest tattoo conventions we have in California nowadays. Finally, huh?
Finally.
What is this, year 4? Year 3?
This is year 4, I think.
And Franco always swings for the fences. His aisle is always booming and popping. Who you got over there this year?
You know what? I got here about an hour ago after 2 hours of traffic, California traffic, and I started.
So you went 3 miles?
At 4, actually.
Okay.
4. I got lucky. So I haven't even seen who all showed up, but I know we got Carlos Torres, Chuy Quintanar, Lexi, the whole crew from the Vatican. Man, I'll get back to you on that answer.
Are you tattooing this weekend?
No,
of course not.
No, I had to give that life up. I had to sacrifice it. I'm 20% tattoo artist, 80% wannabe businessman.
Nathan, have you been to California before?
I've been here many times, yes.
What do you think of California?
Aside from the traffic and all the people, it's amazing. It's one of my favorite places.
Traffic sucks. Every time I drive to LA, I hate it more and more.
It's terrible, yeah.
Franco and I are a little bit more south, Orange County. Mike's a little bit north over on the other side of the Hollywood Hills.
Yep.
Stefano's in New York nowadays, originally from Peru.
Yeah, but I'm in Florida now. The past 2 years and a half, I opened my shop right in front of the beach.
No more New York at all?
Well, I'm going 1 week a month now to New York City to get para last rides. But last year I was maybe just a couple times a year. Also with the New York Empire State Tattoo Expo.
Are you part of that?
Mm-hmm.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stefano and Paul Booth host New York Empire. That's in July, right?
That's correct.
Second week of July?
Second weekend of July, yes.
So what's your guys' favorite thing about this convention here?
Who's going? Well, what I like about the convention is like all my friends are here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I love. I mean, because we had the one in Long Beach, we had old school Ink Slingers Ball. California, Los Angeles, beautiful place, right? And there just hasn't been a really good, mix-up tattoo convention like this. So it's a good place to see everybody from around the world.
Franco, I got a question for you. I like to ask my friends this question. What advice do you have for it's a two-part question. What advice do you have for a younger up-and-coming tattooer? And what advice do you have for the old-timers that wish things would just go back to the way they used to be?
Oh, that's a long one. Okay, I'll try to freestyle it. For the younger guys, I just like to tell them to challenge themselves to why they want to be a tattoo artist and see what that reveals, right? And I always tell them, like, if you're doing it for, the obvious, stupid, silly reasons like fame and all that shit, then you might want to start checking into a different career because it's hard. It's not like, I try to, like, encourage them and discourage them. I call it the shit sandwich, right? So I give them a little good, a little bad, but overall it's like challenge yourself on why you want to be a tattooer. What's your intention behind that? And then I tell them, hey, it's a tough road. And if they still want to do it, then they get to the next level. Old timers, yeah, I mean, we all know the ones that complain. I mean, sometimes I'm stuck in the middle. There's so much I love and so much I don't like. But you know what? What can you do? I think that people that complain a lot, like they have to do something about it. And I've always tried to be that person with the brands we have, is do something about it. So yeah, if you're gonna complain, then you got to do something about it. Otherwise, you got to keep that complaint to yourself.
Well said.
I agree.
I also agree. I think that in this industry, so many people complain, but nobody want to educate other people to help them change or facilitate a change. And that's a big problem with something like this because it's going to evolve. And as tattooers, as artists, I think we have a hand in how it can evolve.
Yeah.
Instead of just everyone complaining, if you find a solution to the problem, things can change for the better or in a direction that will benefit the industry and everybody in it. So,
Yeah.
But my question is what is the solution? Because I think it's just gaining momentum to where it's out of control. We can't turn it back.
I think the solution. I've been meditating on this forever. I remember I dropped like a How to Tattoo Portraits Better DVD like 10 years ago, and I got tons of backlash from my friends. And my intention behind that back then was this. I was like, you know what? People are going to attempt to do portraits anyways. I'm tired of seeing shitty portraits on people. Fucking sick of it. And instead of complaining, I'm going to teach people what I think is how to do them better. And now that's popular to do that, of course. But I think the overall, like Mike, like to answer your question is, picture it like a bunch of noise and a bunch of people playing instruments at the same time, and it sounds like shit. I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. And so it's just a matter of like, hey, let's try to play the right tunes together. So the solution is just trying to shift it all together. All of us as tattoo artists and businessmen shift where we think it should go together as a group. And then people will follow, and hopefully they'll be following something, respectable.
can I speak again? Is that weird?
Yeah. No.
I never know. I don't know the rules. I actually think that the solution comes from educating the clients, not the tattooers. Because when the clients have more information and they understand tattooing and better tattoos and what they should expect from tattooers and tattooing, they'll make better choices. So all the quote-unquote shitty tattooers or scratcher tattooers, they'll hopefully, for the most part, be weeded out because people will be getting better information and they'll be making better choices in the long run, which will help all the better tattooers. But it's up to the tattooers to educate the clients, not just make fun of them or, oh, that's a stupid idea. You need to explain to them why the idea won't work. I mean, belittling people isn't going to work, but if you educate them correctly, they'll come back and they'll explain to their friends, the correct way to go about getting a tattoo, the correct way to act with tattooers and things like that. I mean, my shop is in a little town. The people only want what they want. But after 2 years now, they understand the process of how to come in and approach it. Whereas before it was like, here's this photo, I want this picture. And now they're much more open to just getting, having us to explain to them a better idea or a better concept. And I think educating them will help them educate more clients in the long run. Instead of there's always going to be tattooers in it for the wrong reason, just like music. I mean, there's always going to be one-hit wonders that come out just for money and fame and whatnot, but people that stay in the business for the right reason are the ones that are trying to help the clients, and they're doing it for the right reasons as opposed to just money and chicks. Yeah. I mean, that stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong. That stuff is very cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very nice.
Let me add to that.
Yeah, I want you to elaborate on your statement.
Mm-hmm. Mine?
Yeah,
the last one?
Yeah.
Well, just in addition to what you were saying about educating the client, hey, what kind of gun do you use? There's a lot of old timers or middle timers or whatever the hell you want to call them that get mad. Like, we'll yell at them. I don't get mad. Like, you shouldn't get mad. Like, just tell them, hey, call it a tattoo machine, buddy. Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. A lot of people get mad. I'm not mad at you. I'm just helping you out. So next time you go into a tattoo shop, say what kind of tattoo machine you're using, you sound cool. Yeah. So that. But as far as solutions to the problem, we need to figure out what the problems are. What do those guys have issues with? Is it too many conventions? Is it the guys that are tattooing for 6 months and open 3 shops and teach 45 apprentices? Like, we need to break it down.
Yeah, there's so many
one size fits all for everything, because one guy's pissed off about this other guy doing a convention because he's, you know what I mean?
But that's what I like about situations like this, because from collectors, when they ask me, hey, I want to get tattooed, blah, 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 I'm trying to walk them through the steps of, you're going to get the best tattoo if you let your tattooer run with it, rather than you sitting there trying to micromanage your tattoo, stuff like that. It's like, or teaching the younger up-and-comers the do's and don'ts, not opening a shop 2 years after tattooing and having an apprentice 6 months later, like, I guess just
But the thing is, okay, so this is, I heard this yesterday. You know, it was a raise of hands. Who had a traditional apprenticeship? Maybe half the crowd raised their hand.
was this at the Black Anchor Academy?
Yeah. And, but what's the definition of a true apprenticeship? Is it 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
Right.
What is it? Where's the rule book? Show me the rule book.
That's the problem. There's never been a rule book, and I think that's what you get a lot of people that complain, but it's like, where's your foundation for complaining? I mean, fuck, I want to know what that is just for my own self.
Well,
You know?
this is a weird question. Can I ask you guys? I mean, like me, I had a traditional apprenticeship and it was awful. I learned nothing.
But how long was it?
It was only a year, but it doesn't matter because the girl was terrible. But I think that people that want to get better seek out the information anyways. Like, you know, did you have a great apprenticeship, or because the people that want to move forward will find a way regardless. You know, like all my friends that are like that, they're like, man, my apprenticeship was shitty. I don't actually know anybody that had a good apprenticeship because everybody that's in a certain position, they didn't care what they just needed to get in so they could move forward on their own. I mean, because for me, like I said, I mean, my apprenticeship was.
I didn't have an apprenticeship. I learned in Peru. I got a machine from Ox Spalding, 1-800. There was not even internet at that time. I have 24 years tattooing, practicing with my friends, but I tried to travel to the United States, go to conventions, try to learn, watch people who know more than me do guest pass where somebody is better than me always. So I just learned from them and looking, and that was my own apprenticeship. I wish I have an apprenticeship in any ways. It takes me so long.
But there's lots of success stories like that, like you.
Yeah.
But the thing is nobody talks shit on him. But the Joe Blow that is learning and he's not as good as him.
They might have talked shit on in the first 5 years.
Did you suck in the first 5 years?
I suck.
How bad?
Well, I knew how to draw. I didn't know how to tattoo. They were not healing properly. I didn't know how deep to go. I didn't know many things. I learned to be in a machine with a book of A to Z.
What about now? Do people tell you like you didn't have a traditional apprenticeship? I look down. I don't.
No, that never. That no. That
No,
not happening now.
It's because you're really good. So the people that learn out of their garage, let's just say, and they become really fucking good, nobody questions it.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you come mediocre and you say, oh, yeah, I kind of taught myself out of my garage, but I'm not that good, oh, you fucking scratcher.
Yeah, scratcher.
True. But I think like I also seen stories like that. But these people who are mediocre or whatever at this point, but they're still trying to take seminars or to I don't know, just try to work in a better quality tattoo shop with better artists, and they trying to. I think you can feel and you can see their work evolving or don't even care and just caring about the business part and I don't know if that you guys were saying, I don't think it's the right way to be in a tattoo artist, but I don't know, babe.
But how do you become a tattoo artist?
Because you got a similar story.
What do you guys?
Well,
Sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I thought you have a similar story. You didn't have an apprenticeship, did you, Franco?
No, I was a garage tattooer. Like my first tattoo machine was 25 years ago. It was a Walkman and a guitar string. And the first 3 years, I didn't even want to use a professional machine.
Well, I also think that it was a different time. It was not the accessibility to information, to new technology.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I got my
Nothing.
recipe from a cousin in prison. That was where I got the recipe from. But I have another an interesting topic though. Like as someone that sells tattoo supplies, we get this like, do you make sure what if they're not like a professional tattoo artist? We always try to police it, but it's impossible. Anyone that sells supplies will tell you that it's impossible. But then I always ask myself, like, what is a professional? Like, I know friends of mine that are like legends that tattoo in their kitchen. Like, you know what I mean? They don't want to tattoo at a studio. And then I, for myself, I started in the garage, in the hood. So it's like, what is a professional tattoo artist? There's guys that started tattooing for 6 months. They opened up a shop and then they start apprenticing somebody. And it's like, okay, are we supposed to sell to that guy or the other dude that's does portraits already that doesn't work in a shop. He works at his house. It's a
Didn't
weird
Bob?
thing.
Does it depend
Didn't Bob
on
used to
quality?
make? Bob used to make shirts. Bob Tyrell's Night Gallery. Was that what it was called? Night Gallery.
Yeah.
Bob,
That
yeah.
was his spare room at his house in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, still
And
is.
he's a badass.
Yeah.
I mean, it boils down to me. It boils down to like, are you being safe? Are you being sterile? Like if you tattoo it, if you tattoo. I mean, I'm not saying garage tattooing is cool or should be. Like garages
It's
are dirty.
pretty cool.
Garages are dirty, and but I mean, if you have a spare bedroom or a badass, kitchen with a special area, like some people I know, it's like it's all about sterility. I think at that point, like how clean you are.
Well, now I'm seeing in different countries tattoo schools and backing up by good tattoo artists that I believe they are good. I don't know. Is tattooing gonna turn into an art career? Like you go to
College.
college
Yes.
for 5 years,
I think it will one day.
and you will have your title of tattoo artist, and you can be good or bad, but you already paid a monthly payment for whatever 3 or 1, whatever years it is, and doesn't matter. You
In
finish
some
your career.
countries, it's not frowned upon.
Even
Yeah.
in Oregon, you have to go to school to have a tattoo license.
And it's
long?
super expensive.
I have no clue. I don't know.
I've
You,
been
you
saying-
have to have a high school diploma to get a tattoo license. When I went to do a convention there, they wanted me to get my high school diploma, which was gone. So I said, "Can I use my college diploma?" And she said, "I don't know." And I said, "Well, you can't get a college diploma without a high school diploma." And it was a big series of debate. But I think a lot of those rules are erroneous, because I worked for a guy who started tattooing when he was 15 years old. He dropped out of high school, and he'd been tattooing for almost 40 years. And then they were like, "Hey, you need a high school diploma." And he's like, "I'm like 50 years old, man. Like, what are you talking about?" And a lot of the new rules for tattooing legitimately just make it harder on legitimate tattooers. And because people that are doing illegal things are going to just do illegal things anyways. So it's an odd thing, but again, I still feel like educating. I mean, even people that are, if they're doing it out of their kitchen, if they know, if there's other people around educating them and they're learning, at least they'll be doing it safer. Like when I also got equipment illegally and was working out of my house after I graduated college, and I tried to emulate the shops I'd been in, where they covered everything and, gloves every time, because I was like, I want to do it legitimate, but no one at that time, I mean, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, nobody was taking apprentices. And if they were, you had to be just degraded and like beat down. So every place I went, they were like, no. So I was like, well, I'm going to fucking do it anyways. And, but I wanted it to be clean. I wanted it to be as legit as I could do it until I could get an apprenticeship. So I feel like now there's more information. I mean, I'm assuming all you guys have been working for more than 15 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I went and watched my friend get tattooed by a guy out here almost 20 years ago, a huge name tattooer. I wasn't even tattooing at the time, and I was trying to just be friendly, and I said, "Hey, how do you make your black and gray?" He's like, "I can't tell you that." Now you can go to any tattooer and they'll be like, "Yeah, man, I do this, I use this, I use that."
Well, it's still both.
We
There's
could have
still
been better
people-
so much faster.
Do you think that has to do with shout outs because they're sponsored artists?
No, I mean, that was before, because I remember when things started changing in general, when guys were just being more friendly. And it helps your business, honestly. I mean, the first few conventions I did, I didn't speak with anyone. I just had my head down. And I honestly felt like my work came along. I mean, my work is weird and goofy and whatever, but it moved so much faster when I became friendlier and started talking with other artists, especially artists that didn't work in the style that I preferred to work in. Because learning things from other artists, regardless of what they do, is beneficial to you. You know what I mean? No matter what manner. And everybody was very friendly when you start talking to them. Whereas like Many years ago, it was like, no, I can't tell you that, man. That's a secret.
Yeah, that's secret.
And then everybody just started like letting it out.
But that's what I love about this right here, is just talking, communicating. Because right now, we're going to have people in South America and Russia and New Zealand watching this, and they might be tattooing out of their garage. You know, they need to know, they need to learn to do their homework, to learn about the forefathers that paved the way for them. They need to know the history, and they need to go get tattooed.
Do you think they need to work in a tattoo shop before they go in the garage? Like Guy.
I would say
Like superstars.
I would say it all depends on how badass your garage is. Because I've seen some garages that, like, when you're inside that garage, if you got kidnapped and took the blindfolds off, you wouldn't know you're in the garage. You know, depends on how badass the garage is.
Yeah, that's
and clean and sterile.
But that's what I'm talking about, is to learn clean, sterilizing
Yeah.
things. All of that. If you're just doing it at your garage, you're starting off the wrong way.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
So a guy approached me about a year ago, and he was trying to get me involved in this tattoo school he was creating. And at first I was like, no, fuck no. Like, I don't want to get beat up by all my friends.
Right.
And I never ended up pursuing it. But what he said was he wanted everything to have a certificate. And as I thought about it, it made a lot of sense. He wanted people to have a certificate in like a class of who's Jack Rudy, who's Lyle Tuttle. Like, when you pass the forefathers school, you get a certificate. When you pass, like, you know, how to be sterile and clean, you get a certificate. But he wanted this school to be like on a worldwide level so that anyone could respect it, to where, like, and I thought of it right now, because, like, say someone's tattooing at their house, and then they have these like certificates, like, oh shit, that guy went to that school that's so intense, and he has certificates on anything and everything. So I think that certificate was a way to, like, say, hey, I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because right now we question, if someone says I tattoo out of my house, you immediately think, oh, you must be dirty, or you might be not paying attention to OSHA and those standards. But they might be. But I look back now, I'm like, maybe that wasn't such a stupid idea.
That's interesting.
It's a way to coin it. It's a way to capture it.
Yeah, they passed the chapter of Ed Hardy and Philip Blue and knowing.
Like, it's almost like this. Like, I look back now, and again, I think, wow, that wasn't a dumb idea. Like, you look at a black belt, and you know that motherfucker can kick your ass if you don't have a black belt. If he has a white belt or a yellow belt, you know, because he has that belt, what he's put in, and you have a respect for him. And that's kind of what this school thing was about, was like, it's like they're not saying you have to pass it to become a tattoo artist, but at least people would know, like, where you're coming from.
But it's also, like you said, like, you guys are developing products that are making people's lives easier. You know, like you said, we could have got so much better, so much faster.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's still things getting put out there. It's like, why didn't we do this a decade ago? Hey, honey, why didn't we do this 15 years ago? You know, like, why does it have to be so slow to evolve? But
Because it would have been worse.
But I just like at least people thinking outside the box and having open minds and not just being closed off.
No, and also I think it's more demand. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I think it's more demand, and as much products the companies sell, they have more money to invest in make better products. I guess if you don't have the money to invest in new machines, new technology, you know, if you don't have, you know, more people who buy in the products. So
True.
That's where the money comes from selling more ink, selling more machines, selling more everything. So if there will be just an elite of tattoo artists, just the best, what else you do with where the capital comes to create better products?
Right.
I have a dream, even though it was just Martin Luther King's Day. I got a dream. Want to hear about my dream?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dream is that anyone complaining can somehow have a forum to do something about it. One of them is, like, I make products, right? Mike Devries, you make products. Stefano, you make products too, right?
I'm doing right now.
I definitely don't make
Okay.
products.
Oh, fuck. Just stick to tattooing and fuck. I want to go backwards sometimes. But, like, I am a fan. So, talk about old school rules. I'm still a believer that if you're selling fucking tattoo supplies, you got to be a tattoo artist. And my dream is that one day we can all get together. And me and Mike have talked about it, and Nico and a bunch of other people, Torres, our dream is that one day we can do something together to where on a worldwide level, the only motherfuckers selling tattoo supplies are people that tattoo. You could have a businessman running your business logistics, but owning like machines or wipes or anything, nobody puts a heart and soul into a product like a tattoo artist.
Well, that's just like what Lubriderm just came out.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say company names?
They did? What did they come out with?
I just heard yesterday that Lubriderm came out with a tattoo cream. Okay, so what Franco's talking about is, what does Lubriderm know? Unless they hired a panel of like experts, but
which they probably didn't.
But Franco or certain actual tattoo artists know what needs to go in there or pull what out. So that's why you should be promoting tattoo artist products, because we know what needs to be in it or take it out.
And I've gotten a taste of big business. Big business is all worried about the profit margins. And big business, they'll do whatever they can to shave off, quality for profit. And that's just, they're supposed to do that. They have investors and that kind of bullshit. And I think if people know that and understood that when a big corporation comes in, you can guarantee it's not going to be the quality of like a Mike Devries wipe. Like if Bronny came in and was started to do tattoo wipes, it'd be like on a shitty level.
You're taking shortcuts.
Yeah, but like I think it's important for every tattoo artist out there to know that if you're buying a product from a tattoo artist, most likely, just like I am, he's probably insecure. He probably cares more about what his peers think of that product more than making money. He wants to make money, especially if he has 4 kids like I do and shit. But like overall, he wants like his friends to go, that's a badass machine. That's a badass product. That's a badass glide. So you know that he's going to put his heart and soul into it for the right reasons.
And tell his friends.
Because we all want to be able to put food on the table for our kids, but at the same time, I think legacy is more important than having a house in the hills, Like
not only that, but respect. I think a lot of us, a lot of times, like what we even tell our clients is that at the end of the day, anybody up here, anybody out here, we want your tattoo, we want your experience to be better than you want it to be. When clients come to us, they always say the same thing. Oh, this is way better than I thought. This came out better than I thought. That's what we all want, because we always push ourselves harder than the general public is going to push us. Yeah. You want to produce products that are better than the public is aware of.
Yeah.
You can build a tattoo machine out of a tape recorder, but you don't want to push that product with your name on it. You want to produce something that people are.
Right. These guys are in the lab for days and weeks and months and years perfecting it.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is like going back to the community and going back to the ideal world, like all the products are by the artist. I think it's completely possible, because imagine right now we are sitting down at a table. It's not gonna be the CEO of Lubriderm interviewing by you.
Well, convention should not let him in.
Yeah.
I mean, wants a triple booth? No.
What?
Yeah.
No. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd love to see those kind of rules start to happen.
Yeah, we need to make a rule book.
And you know what? That means all of us that are doing business, like we have to become better businessmen, And that's just the nature of it. It's the only way to do it.
I think still we have the power to actually promote what we think is good. If we don't promote it, people's gonna buy it. I don't know who's gonna buy it if the best tattoo artists are using the right products made by tattoo artists.
So what about the artists that are still using speed stick to transfer stencils? Because there are a bunch. How do you get them to switch or stop using Vaseline?
Education.
Maybe we can talk to them.
Smack some sense into them.
A lot of that, I understand this old school mentality, and they don't want to be sponsored by or anything, because we say, oh no, I don't want to just have any label on me or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think if we explain why, we can actually, it's even worse because you're using Vaseline than you are using a product from a tattoo artist. It's not about you're using a product of somebody else, you're using a better product for your customer, for you.
Yeah.
But tattoo artists are cheap. They won't throw away a Sharpie marker. You know, they'll shave, draw, microscopic cuts. Next client, shave, use the same marker. I know somebody that got MRSA from that. It wasn't me, it was somebody else. But that's $1. They don't want to throw away $1.
Less than $1.
I spent 6 years just traveling full time. I didn't have a home. I just traveled everywhere. And, you know, going back to what you were talking about earlier about, like, should they go to a shop? Should they go to a garage? You know, how should they be educated? I've been to legitimate shops with big name artists all over the world. And I've been places where they've cleaned their stations with alcohol. And I'm like, I would ask them, I'm like, what are you using? And they're like, oh, just use this alcohol. And I was like, that's not right. Like, do you have something here that will kill the diseases that are dangerous aside from like just dirt and film? I mean, but there's some places, like I said, even legitimate shops where big time artists have been, and my mind is blown. But again, the education, there's always going to be bad apples everywhere. I mean, there's always going to be that guy that's like, oh man, I'll do this in my garage for $35. I mean, you're never going to weed that out. But if you're educating people, you know, other tattooers on why you shouldn't clean your station with rubbing alcohol, it's not going to kill hepatitis. You know, that will hopefully trickle down like everything, just the same way that Speed Stick trickled down to, you know, guys in the 90s still. I mean, I still get nostalgic when I smell like that scent of Speed Stick. I'm like, holy shit, that's old tattooing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to use it to lay a stencil anymore.
Of course.
But it's those type of people that it's going to be hard to be like, okay, this container that costs $30 that will last about 4 tattoos or 5, depending on the size, is $20, $30, $40 versus a 99-cent store Vaseline. How do you, no matter how could you sell it?
I always break it down to people with other stories or like sort of comparisons to their jobs. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't want to get a pizza where the guy was just playing with his balls and then making your pizza. You know what I mean? And then they're like, oh shit, so you wouldn't want to use a Sharpie that was used on someone before. And then also, if you break it down to people financially, you know, like your shop's doing really good. If somebody comes back because you were dirty and they got MRSA or something, your shop's not going to be making as much money, you know. That's less cigarettes for them, less nights at the bar, less, you know, whatever tattooers are doing now. And most people are receptive. But again, I mean, you're always going to have bad apples that are going to be like, yeah, fuck that, you know, I'm not paying $8 for legit ink. I'm going to get this scumbag ink out of a magazine.
James, get a picture for us.
Yeah.
Get a picture for us.
Also, I think like not only tattoo shop, that we're talking about tattoo shop, legit tattoo shop or whatever, but I think the next generation that I know, a lot of tattoo artists were good. Good tattoo artists artistically, they have no idea about cross contamination. Big names grabbing things with their hands, grabbing bottles of ink, and I seen it and I'm like, wow, rubbing lamps. And they're big names also.
Yeah.
But I knew a few new artists I have in my shop that I have to reteach them cross contamination before they start working at the shop. Because I asked them, oh, amazing artist. Where did you learn, man? What was your apprenticeship? No, I learned in YouTube. I watched a bunch of videos and I learned everything, all the information on YouTube. I download seminars and videos and that's it. And they're amazing, but they don't teach cross-contamination videos in videos.
A lot of I don't know about out here, but a lot of the classes and things like that are not geared towards tattooing. Like where we're at, we have to learn like ladder safety, and you're like, we don't have ladders in the tattoo shop. Like we need more programs geared towards tattooing and tattoo safety, not just like an umbrella program that's all workplaces, because tattoo workplaces are much different than other workplaces. But I mean, most tattooers don't know that either, you know?
That's why I like the certification idea. Like if you see a guy with a bunch of logos on his Instagram and you're like, oh, that guy passed that test. That guy's got his black belt. it's like, ultimately that's what we're looking for, is like, nobody knows what someone knows. Everyone assumes,
Right.
but like everything, and I hate to say labels, but this whole life is geared towards labels, and it's not all bad. Like I remember, Intel Inside, like, that computer made by that company has Intel inside because it's got the logo. I always think, like, I always go back to this, I picture this logo that says tattoo artist made, and like everybody that makes a product that tattoos can use that logo. So people are like shopping for stuff at a convention like this and like, okay, that stuff was made overseas and they sell copycat shit. Oh, that stuff, there's Mike Devries stencil formula or wipe, and it's got the tattoo artist made logo. I would love to see the industry go more towards something like that. So at a glance, you don't have to wonder anymore.
Why don't we try to do it?
I think we should.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I had an interesting.
It all starts with someone creating a logo. Maybe it'll catch
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Tattoo artist made.
Now I know a lot of old timers are gonna, not like this, but I said it years ago that pretty soon, maybe not Harvard, but maybe CSUN, or so you're gonna be able to get a degree in body art.
Yeah.
And I agree, as far as the certificates and stuff, the first semester should be tattoo history.
The guy that came and saw me was from, it's a pretty big accredited school. I want to say like Phoenix University or something like that. He was like a 68-year-old man. So it was like a real deal thing. And
So he's not a tattooer?
no,
He's
straight
He's
freaking.
tattooed and he knew the history?
He just said that he was working with the city or the some kind of the school, whoever's in charge of schools, like barber schools and stuff like that, and they were trying to put together something for tattoo artists. And at first I was like, I don't even want to meet with you guys because like, and then I'm like, no, I want to see what's going on. And if you know what's going on with the FDA and Inc. with Tramp and a bunch of, I go to these meetings in Vegas and stuff, and not a lot of people know this, but FDA is kind of cracking down and they're kind of getting their nose in the business. So I think that's what was going on. But I look back now and I'm like, I almost want to reach back out to that guy and bring like 10 or 15 high-class artists with me and say, hey, look, this is how it should be done. But it's on the horizon, and I look at it like this. If we don't do it, someone else is going to do it.
Well, and that's, to continue on the story, it was at Palm Springs 2 or 3 years ago, and I talked to Damon Conklin. Is that how you say his name?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I know, like, maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe there's going to be courses to get your degree in body art. And Damon's like, you're absolutely fucking correct. And I'm like, what do you think about it? And I was asking him because he's a kind of old-timer-ish. Not old-timer, but
Yeah, he
a
is,
little
yeah.
bit. Yeah,
A little bit older than you guys?
25 plus years.
And I couldn't believe what he said. He said we should do it. Because if we don't do it, it's going to be a bunch of Joe Blows that don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, think about this, to piggyback on that. Tattoo schools relatively are stupid because at first glance, it's a money grab. Like,
Yeah.
it's super obvious. You can, like, tell within, like, 10 minutes of scouring their Instagram. But if, like, 30 artists from around the world, guys like us, guys like Paul Booth, guys like Bob Tyrrell, guys like Boris, around the world were involved in something, then people would know it's not stupid. They would know that, like, they're like, wow, they have a course in, like, know your tattoo history. Like, that alone would make anyone that normally would talk shit not talk shit.
Yes.
Like, fuck, I don't care what else you're going to teach, but if you have a course in know your tattoo history, I'm already fucking sold. I won't talk shit on you.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that's a big chunk of it. The biggest chunk of it.
Yeah, then the next semester is just bloodborne.
Yeah.
Then the next semester is modern tattoo.
Integrity.
You don't even learn how to tattoo till fucking like 8 years later or some shit.
But, like, even having courses, like, on integrity, like, hey, you're a tattoo artist with a big name. You know to not squirt your fucking station down with alcohol. So it's not about knowledge. It's now about integrity. Did you take the integrity course? And in the integrity course, it'll say, hey, what the fuck are you doing? People are watching. It's not cool to do that.
But people
Right.
are still gonna bitch because it's a place for people to learn.
That's the thing. You take the reasons away. And when you have a lot of artists around the world involved in forming it, and then it's not really like one dude or two dude or him and his dad money grabbing. It's an actual group. And then if that group gives back to the old timers, sets up things and does like charitable deeds. So now it's this organization that any organization is going to bring in money, but now it's not like one or two or three dudes. It's 20 or 30 guys, and there's board members, and they're respectable, all of them. There's old timers on there, Rick Walters and Jack Rudy. But then we use that to do good, to have conventions around the world. To go into third world countries like India that are tattooing like dirty as fuck, like they're still smoking cigarettes, eating hot dogs, and tattooing with no gloves. You know, so I look at it like there's a right way to do it. I don't know what that is, but I got a tiny idea.
Well, to close that idea or whatever, I was at Last Rights when I was working in New York a few years ago, 6 years ago maybe, and an intern from NYU art career, he had a tattoo story course like 6 years ago in NYU.
Really?
And he knew about history of, you know, the Ed Hardy or Paul Booth.
A body art
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So
It's already
aside
happening.
note,
Tattoos. And I was like,
Hey,
tattoos?
I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, you tattoo also? I thought you just built machines, motherfucker. I was tattooing before you were born."
You hear that?
I want to be a part of that history class.
People said that to you?
Oh yeah, a couple times. Like, "Oh, you tattoo also?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." "Oh, I thought you just built machines." I'm like, I don't even get mad though. I'm like, it's my own fault. You know.
I like when people, I'm like, I'm a tattoo artist, and they're like, cool, what do you do for a living? It's like, fuck.
Usually it's the opposite. Usually, if you say you tattoo, they just think that everyone's balling and rich and rock stars and just farting out
A lot
money.
of it, look at what we put on social media.
Yeah, but
Right?
I always tell Ryan, I'm like, you need to tattoo more to remind everybody that you're a tattooer, because he had back surgery, hasn't tattooed in 8 months. I'm like, we got 100,000 new followers since then that don't know you tattoo. You better start tattooing again.
I want to throw something out there about that. Like, I think that all tattoo artists that do business, I would love for people to respect guys like Mike and myself and 100 other guys that do business, because we actually have to sacrifice a portion of who we are as an artist. Like me, for example, I've been tattooing for 25 years. At one time, I was very well known for black and gray portraits, right? Now I'm not really that well known anymore. And because I had to sacrifice me as an artist to be a businessman. I'm not bummed about it. Some days I wonder, but I had to pull back probably about 80 to 90%. Now I tattoo about 4 or 5 times a month. But there is that sacrifice that we have to make if we want to do good business. There's just no way you can do both. It's impossible.
Well, real quick, I'm going to slowly close this out because I know you guys are busy. You got a lot of stuff. You got booths. But you mentioned a name earlier that I want to let everyone know about, Rick Walters. Rick Walters is a dear, dear friend of mine. Tattoo legend, icon, ran Burt Grimm's down at the Pike in Long Beach for 25 years. His health has been going downhill the last few months. They found blood clots in his lungs. He can barely walk 30 feet without having to stop, take a break, and breathe. He's on oxygen tank. But anyways, we're putting together a charity art show for him, a $200 max art show. It's going to go down March 30th. I want to let everyone know we're taking donations. Doesn't have to be any big masterpiece, a small piece of original art. Send it to us framed. We're going to sell, if we get 100 pieces of art framed and sell each of them for $200, that's $20,000 I can hand over to Rick just to let him sleep a little bit better at night. So anyways, I just want to let everyone know that. It's March 30th. We're doing it at Collective Inc. in Garden Grove.
What is the deadline to send the art?
We're sending it to Sullen headquarters. That's 1799 Apollo Court, Seal Beach, California. You can check out our Instagram. We got all the details on there. But March 30th, we're taking donations from tattoo supply companies. We're going to be doing a bunch of raffles. I started a GoFundMe for them last night. We have this platform. We gotta help. We gotta help out. So
Definitely the old timers. I'm a huge fan of getting the old timers some help. Because they it's like basketball players that used to get paid $30,000 back in the days, and now they're broken. Guys are getting paid $20 million.
And I went and asked for his blessing last week. Chris Wynn and I, and his tattoo daughter KJ, and Rick. I mean, it was touching, man. Like you could tell. He's like, yes, I need the help badly. And he was slightly getting choked up. And it's like, he's too prideful. He's not going to ask for it, But at the same time, like, if we were to help anybody, it'd be someone like Rick. Yeah. So, anyways,
we're all in.
Everyone out there, $200 max art show. All the money's going straight to Rick. Tattoo supply companies. Awesome. If you guys want to donate for the raffles and stuff, there'll be one raffle for tattooers only, and then one for the collectors. But we've done this a few times. It's been a huge success, so getting the word out there. I want to thank you guys for coming up and joining us, man. I really do appreciate it. I know you guys are busy.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, dude.
I scored on this this round of guys right here. I ran around. I'm like, you please come.
It was good conversation.
Yeah, this was great. So Golden State Tattoo Convention, Pasadena. Thanks for coming up. We got Stefano, Mike Devries, Franco Vescovi, Nathan Evans. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
very
you.
much.